Hey, everybody. Welcome into Onorato Company. Chris Onorato flying solo for most of the show this week. But, I mean, I couldn't ask to be in a better place. I mean, you're going to be alone. You want to be comfortable, right? And you want to look good. Look at the backdrop here. This is the brand new showroom. First look that most people are getting at this brand new showroom in Amsterdam for Alpin Haus. I mean, right now, obviously, it's pool and spa season, the hot tubs, there are grills, pizza stoves, incredible stuff. We'll dive into some of the real details here, but then this will also transition into the incredible ski shop. So it's seasonal, it's functional, it is absolutely beautiful. I'll give you a little bit more of a look at this. I mean, when you walk in the front door, the sight lines are incredible. You see absolutely everything this place has to offer, and I'll walk you around the place in a little bit as well. We'll talk with Jamie Georgelos, who is the ski, pool, and spa manager here in Amsterdam. What an incredible place here at Alpin Haus, kind of unveiling it for the first time. There will be an official grand opening and ribbon cutting and all that good stuff down the line. But we, of course, get inside first as Alpin Haus, Andy Heck, and Katie Osborne. Boy, we love having them as partners on the show. We've got a lot to get to here. We are jam-packed with guests this week. We've got Phillies pitcher, Shaker grad, Jeff Hoffman checking in. He's been incredible out of the bullpen for Philadelphia. Actor David Koechner from The Office and Anchorman. He's in Saratoga Springs Friday night, July 28th for The Office Trivia Night. That'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to talk about the Capital Region Football Hall of Fame induction class on Saturday, August 5th with the president, Nick Fitzgerald. Let's get going live from Alpin Haus.
This is Onorato Company, sponsored by Alpin Haus.
And we're here at an Alpin Haus location once a month to do this show, but this place is incredible. Again, if you're just kind of jumping on with us here on News Channel 13's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, where we do the show live every single Thursday. If you're watching us on TV, now is your heads up to get to Amsterdam for all of your pool spa needs. Ski season, this place will be incredible then as well, wall to wall with whatever you need for the winter season. But it's summer now. Come on in and take advantage of some of the great deals that are happening here at Alpin Haus. We'll talk with Jamie Georgelos coming up in about 5 minutes or so. But let's get into the news here. And the biggest thing that people are talking about in the 518, right? A little bit of a sigh of relief here. Saquon Barkley and the Giants avoid what would have been definitely a difficult training camp here, because the star running back would have held out. He was not going to show up on time and then presumably play under the franchise tag. So the two sides still find a way to come together. What they couldn't do, because they missed the deadline, and what they couldn't do is agree to a long-term deal, but they could restructure a one-year deal. And so Barkley makes a little more money to play the 1 year, and it isn't the franchise tag. So he's going to make $11 million. He's at camp. He's going to be there week one. I mean, it's just a huge relief to forget Giants fans, the Giants organization, Daniel Jones, everybody who is wearing blue on Sunday. It's a huge deal. So that is a monster story, of course. How about this one? This came out Wednesday night. Aaron Rodgers taking a $35 million pay cut. You say, well, he's making a ton of money, Chris. I know, but here's what I read into it. His comments earlier in the week were, look, the Jets gave up a lot to get me. It would be a little bit of a disservice for me to only play the 1 year. So he's thinking long-term here. If I take less money, instead of the $110 million I was guaranteed over the next 2 years, and I cut it down to 75, that gives us more flexibility this year. Hello, maybe Dalvin Cook, right? And next year. So if Rodgers is already thinking, I'm going to play 2 years anyway, if we can't win it all year one, I want to put this franchise in a position that we could win it year two, and then maybe that is really the last year I want to play anyway, and it gives us the best team and situation possible because I've taken less money. So he's thinking long-term here, okay? That's a big story in the NFL as well. Look out for the Jets to be active now with guys with the waiver wire, or maybe even Dalvin Cook if they want to think big, big, big. Justin Herbert signs a big, big contract, $262.5 million over 5 years. It's the largest contract in NFL history in terms of average annual salary, 52.5. All this says is what we've already kind of known, is that any quarterback who signs a contract here on out is going to become the highest paid player in NFL history. Joe Burrow will be the next guy. What I've said is that if I'm Patrick Mahomes' agent, there needs to be a clause in his contract that says, no matter what, my client, the Chiefs quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl winning QB, will always be the highest paid guy. So when Herbert signs this deal, Mahomes makes $500,000 more. When Burrow signs his deal, Mahomes makes $500,000 more than that. He should always be the highest paid player in the NFL while he is performing at this level. And there should be that little bit of an escalator clause. I know it's not going to happen, but that's how I would be thinking if I'm Mahomes' agent and if I'm Patrick Mahomes. So Herbert gets a huge deal. I think he's going to have a huge year, by the way. I don't do fantasy football, but if you are in fantasy football, if your league values quarterbacks, Herbert's going to have a huge year with Kellen Moore calling the plays. Monster year. And also there's like a little something there too where from an organizational standpoint, I think they're going to devalue Austin Eckler knowing that he is still in search of that big, big deal. I think they're out to prove, hey, this offense can kind of run without you. So they're going to throw it a ton this year in LA for the Chargers. Carol is watching. Carol, good morning. Congrats to Ashley. Thank you. I will let Ashley deliver some of that news as we go along here. Sam is watching as well. Marcellus is watching. Heads up for the Marcellus MVP of the month. Going to do it next week. I want to see how the World Cup shakes out in group play. Marcellus team. You've got the MVP of the month for the month of July coming up next week. Burrow, big payday coming, no doubt. And Nick points it out here, Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big year too. I think Lawrence has a really good year this year. He will be in line for that monster contract before his 5th year of the rookie deal. Sam makes a good point here, right? None have a Super Bowl ring yet. Yes. However, Sam, come on, man. You're a Jets fan. Don't tell me you wouldn't shell out a lot of money for these guys, even if they didn't win a Super Bowl for you yet. The NFL is so quarterback starved that these teams are willing to go $52.5 million a year because they believe this guy is, one, not only on his track and trajectory to be a great quarterback, but he's the best option at the time. You don't want to go back to square one. I might live that with the Packers. Square one is a scary place to be. It's also kind of interesting. I haven't been there as a Green Bay fan in a long time, so I'm looking forward to this season. And Jeff Casey's checking in from Rockport, Mass. Jeff, thanks for joining us, man. I agree. And Sam says, yeah, spend the money. Most important position on the team. I have long argued it is the most important position in all of sports. Quarterback. Handles the ball on every single offensive snap. The league has created rules to benefit the passing game more than any other aspect of the sport. And I can get into like maybe goalie, but a lot of times a hockey team gets hot with a goalie in the postseason, and boom, there they are off into the Stanley Cup final and maybe even raising the cup. All right, before we give you kind of more of a look here at Alpin Haus, we've got some business to take care of.
And now, dirty, difficult, and done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
My guy, Bill Miller, his team, which includes Sean Wilcoxon, great crew up at Performance Industrial. And here is my dirty, difficult, done for the week. The dream of an Ohtani deadline deal is sadly done. I was really hoping for some excitement leading up to the deadline at the end of this month that maybe Shohei Ohtani would be dealt. The Angels, and the reports are out there, the Angels have pulled Ohtani off the trade market. They're not going to listen to any more offers. They, in fact, are buying. They traded for Lucas Giolito, who is probably the best pitcher, strictly pitcher on the trade market this year from the White Sox. So the Angels are in buy mode as they wait to get healthy and maybe really contend here down the stretch. I argue that the smarter thing to do for the franchise would have been to trade Ohtani, because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year anyway. Now, I know you're saying to him, hey, look, we are invested in winning. We want to win. That's why we're trading for Lucas Giolito. We're buyers at the deadline. We think we can make the playoffs. We want to keep you and show that we can win. I would have said to Ohtani, by trading you, we put ourselves in the best position to win long term. We are going to sign you in the offseason. We will offer you more money than any other franchise out there. And because of your return on the trade market, we will be better in 2024 and on. It's a hard sell, but the Yankees did it with Aroldis Chapman. Now, Aroldis Chapman is not Shohei Ohtani. I get that. But the Yankees did it with Chapman to some level of success when they traded him to the Cubs, and the Cubs won the World Series, and then Chapman comes back on the free agent deal, and the Yankees got some return for Chapman. So this would be even bigger and better. That's my thought on it. Roll the dice, because there's still, in my opinion, a very good chance that Ohtani doesn't re-sign this offseason with Anaheim. So unfortunately, there will be no deadline deal with Shohei Ohtani. It certainly does not appear. All right, let me take a quick time out here on Onorato Company. When we come back here live from Alpin Haus in Amsterdam in this beautiful brand new showroom, we're going to talk with Jamie Georgelos, and he's going to kind of give us the insights of what it took to renovate this place and why now this company, which does so well year in and year out, is in even better position to serve its great customer base. We're back right after this on O&Co.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpin Haus Pool, Spa, Boat, and RV. Bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
You've heard of unsung heroes. The men and women of Niskoba are the unseen heroes. For the past year, you've learned about our many charitable endeavors. Now it is my privilege to share with you the work performed by our members, the 20,000 state correction and law enforcement officers shielded from view. They work in difficult and dangerous conditions and are an extension of the police who protect our neighborhoods. Niskoba honors New York's police and firefighters and salutes its own members who help deliver a peaceful night's sleep.
And now back to Onorato Company, sponsored by Alpin Haus.
Back live at Alpin Haus in Amsterdam, and this place is incredible. We'll walk around it a little bit here coming up, but I'm joined now by Jamie Georgelos, who is the manager of the pool, spa, and ski shop.
That's right.
This place is incredible. I asked you just jokingly off camera, how is it coming to work every day? But really, how is it coming to work every day now in this brand new space?
Oh, it's amazing to see this all come to life right now. You know, what started out as just a plan on a piece of paper now is it's happening. So it's great for not only myself, but for the company and all the employees here.
Yeah, and the customers. I mean, think about coming in here. I walked in through the front door this morning, and Katie greeted me at the door, but I just stopped for a second. I went, wow. I mean, the sight lines are incredible. You see absolutely everything that really you have to offer here on kind of just one broad glance, really.
Yeah, it's been really special, like you said, to see the customers come through the door, especially through the construction phases that we were under. But now, you know, we're going to be able to serve our customers so much better by having all of our products out all the time.
So let's talk about some of the things we've got here. And the great deals always continue here at Alpin Haus. Actually, friend of the show, buddy of mine, came out last week. You helped him start to finish buy a hot tub that he has wanted for a while. I mean, hadn't been out here before. One trip, done like that, he's obviously thrilled and excited for that. But you make the buying experience so easy. Why is that as important as we all kind of assume it is in the just kind of customer relations business?
Well, for us, we're users of all the products that we carry, whether it be hot tubs, pools, skis, and to have your friend come out. I mean, it was just it was great to get to meet him, and we had a great time while he was here. And it's fun. I mean, we sell fun products, and it's really easy to convey that to our customers.
All right. So what are some of the things that you most excited about here? I mean, I'm going to show the Wellis in a little bit, the swimming experience that just is, I mean, this machine is absolutely incredible. We'll show that off to people here in a second. But I mean, there's so many things other than we talk obviously about pools and spas, but all the patio furniture you guys have here, all the options for grilling. I know Katie said there's a pizza stove now, 2 pizza ovens or griddles. I mean, you guys have really expanded the array of options you have.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially with the addition of about 16,000 square feet to our showroom. Now we're able to really enhance all the different product lines. So, when you talk about our spa line, now we've made the necessary adjustments so that we can get the swim spas in the showroom to show people. We've been able to take our grilling needs and enhance those. I mean, the pizza ovens, I'll have to show you those. They're amazing, and they make everybody a perfect pizza chef. They're awesome. And then even to our patio design, I mean, we're going to be able to show a bigger variety of all that our patio vendors, suppliers have. We make it really that one-stop shop.
The spa service team, which I've kind of talked about here. Talk a little bit about the experience you guys have, because you said you're all users of the products you sell, which I would imagine is just incredibly important in being able to deliver the information to the customer as they come into the showroom.
Definitely. I mean, from a sales perspective, being able to explain to somebody what it's going to be like to be in your hot tub staring at the stars, maybe on that cold, crisp fall day or something like that. I mean, those are the things that's why people buy spas. Or, if you look at, relaxation and muscle relief, we want to be able to really share our experiences so that the people that we're serving know what they're going to get. But then on the service side too, we have a full service team that we have that's trained to be able to, if something goes wrong or you need maintenance or something like that they're there to be able to, take good care of all the products and customers we have out there.
Yeah, it's the follow-up, right?
Yes.
It's not just the point of sale.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie, thanks for jumping on with us here. I'm going to walk around the showroom in a little bit to show some of the people the grills and the patio furniture and the spas. If there are people at home watching this and they're thinking about an in-ground pool, should they be booking now for 24?
We could actually, in some cases, still get people in for 23, and we have people already booking for 24. So now's the time to come in. We can get the design going, and our team is hard at work out there. We've been lucky. We've been dodging a lot of the raindrops, so we're keeping everybody moving forward.
All right, Jamie, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Thanks for the support, as always. Jamie Georgelos, who's the manager here at the ski pool and spa spot in Amsterdam with a brand new showroom. Don't go anywhere, everybody. When we come back, Jeff Hoffman, the Shaker grad and Phillies pitcher, pitching really well out of the bullpen for Philadelphia, is our guest next on Onorato Company.
I don't care what kind of stories that's been told on you. That may be a lot of things in life you used to do. If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just do the best you can.
Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
And now back to Onorato Company, sponsored by Alpin Haus.
Onorato Company, Chris Onorato, Ashley Miller. Ash, I jokingly always say on this show, like, if the person went to Ithaca or has red hair, they have an automatic entry as a guest. I would imagine if they went to Shaker, you would say automatic entry as a guest.
Always automatic entry. Shaker or Cuse, automatic entry. I even wore my Shaker blue today.
Saying that. And I love stories of athletes who, quote unquote, bet on themselves and it pays off. Like the most notable examples are Max Scherzer did it one year. Joe Flacco did it. And I that's like big. But I think it did raise maybe some eyebrows when our guy Jeff Hoffman was like, hey, I want my release. But obviously he knew something this offseason, and it's going to pay off for him big time. Let's bring him into the conversation here. Jeff Hoffman, the Shaker grad, and now doing, incredible things out of the Phillies bullpen. Jeff, man, it's good to have you on the show. Thanks for popping on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
So I want to ask you about you betting on yourself, but first I have more pressing matters here. What's more difficult facing? Well, let me ask you this first off. Just off the top of your head, who's a really difficult matchup for you in the batter's box?
Oh, man. I think guys like Mookie, guys like Trey Turner, who luckily I have him on my team now, so I don't have to face him anymore. Guys that can just create. Not necessarily like power guys or one or the other. I think the stuff that like Trey and Mookie have going for them is that they can impact the game so many different ways. So I think guys like that really tend to. They can hurt you in so many different ways.
All right, so Ash, let me have one more here. Okay, what's more difficult, facing Mookie Betts in the box or chasing your 4 kids around? 4 kids, man.
I think the kids probably definitely. Me and my wife definitely have our hands full. It's been so much fun while they've been young, and the boys are starting to really understand like kind of what I do, and they're around a little bit more. So it's really cool to see, and I'm excited that they get to grow up, around this type of stuff.
In a clubhouse, there's nothing like that. I can imagine.
Jeff, if we had talked to you, a few months ago, you would have been a little more in limbo and maybe unsure of what your future was. But it seems like when Chris said you bet on yourself, you really did bet on yourself. And now it feels like you found a home and you found an organization that had a need and you filled right in. Can you take us through the process of just making that decision and saying, okay, this isn't working for me. I'm going to, ask to get cut loose and basically see if I can stick with another team because I think I'm good enough.
Yeah. That's basically what it was, I felt like I had a strong spring training in Minnesota, and it was one of those things where the numbers just didn't really, work out for the roster spot. So that was something I feel like I'm good enough to contribute to a major league bullpen. And I didn't want to play in AAA. So, I kind of said, I'll try my luck somewhere else. And the Phillies were actually the first team to call. They had been scouting me pretty heavily through spring training. And once I took my out, they were right on it. So I was excited to see the sense of urgency there from their side. And, obviously everything's turned out pretty well so far. So it's been fun.
ERA under 3, a whip under 1. It's so hard to find solid middle relief help in this league. GMs are looking for it every single offseason, end of July. They're always looking for middle relief help. What has allowed you about your game mentality? I don't know, that has made you successful in that role?
I think past experience as a starter, for one, I kind of have that ability to go out and throw maybe a little bit more than like a typical 1-inning reliever. I can give, anywhere from 1 to 3 innings, if I'm feeling really good. So I think that's a nice little weapon to have in everybody's bullpen. So, whatever the situation is, a starter, maybe has a rough one early, or maybe they just want to, switch, flip the lineup or something like that. I think, what I can bring to the table has been shown, throw anywhere from, multiple innings to 1 inning, and even the extra inning games, stuff like that. it's just what I've done in my career. I'm able to throw 30 pitches, and if that's what the team needs, then that's what I can do.
Jeff, when you go from a starter to a reliever, that's kind of a change in mentality. Now you're switching teams. Does it take a long time to fit in, or did you know any of the guys on this roster prior? Had you played with any? I know you probably know more. The major leagues are probably a smaller place than you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that question definitely, it just depends on the clubhouse that you're coming into. Mm-hmm. I've been lucky to, come into this clubhouse and everybody really is tight knit, and there wasn't much growing pains at all. I would say there wasn't any growing pains. It was like, I've been here from day one. There are a lot of guys in this clubhouse that are my age, same draft, played against them in college, played against them in, college summer league, whatever it was. And I feel like that, has kind of allowed everybody to, we have things in common, and it's easy to just step in and just go. Not really any bumps in the road or anything like that. It's fun to step into a clubhouse that has as much fun as we do. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Who has maybe more fun than they should? Who's the one guy?
Without going too much in depth, Brandon Marsh has a lot of fun.
I believe that.
Marshy has a lot of fun.
Guy. Yeah. He feels like he has fun 24/7, 365.
He's definitely that guy, and we love him for it.
Good for him. Yeah. I'm not wishing you away from the Phillies here, but could we get you to a ballpark that isn't like so home run friendly? Colorado and Cincinnati, and the ball jumps at those places. Philly for a long time has been known as a good hitter's park, and you don't give up a lot of home runs, which I think is really impressive. But man, I don't know, like, can we get you to a big ballpark that like San Francisco where they don't give up so many maybe?
Yeah, it would be nice, but I like my chances here more than I like them in San Francisco right now. So I'm happy with where I'm at, and the ball's gonna fly anywhere in the summer when it starts to heat up. There's jet streams everywhere, so you just gotta do your best to keep it out of the jet stream, and you'll be all right.
Jeff, this is a Phillies team that, listen, outside of the Braves, I think I had the Phillies second in the division, which currently you are, but a tough start to the year, a lot of injuries. You guys now have won 4 in a row. What are the goals, and do you feel like this is a team that is starting to not only get healthy, but maybe find its groove as the second half gets fired up here?
Yeah, absolutely. We love where we're at. Every team, goes through their bumps throughout a season. 162 is, you hear it all the time. It's a long season. And for a team to be doing it from wire to wire is pretty rare. So you take your bumps and your bruises, when you get them. And for us right now, what we look forward to every day is game time. And we just look forward to that night. We go out and we play that day. And at the end of the day, we look up at series wins, and we try to win as many of those as possible, stack as many as possible. And, I feel like when we do that, we'll look up at the end of the day and we'll be happy with where we're at.
I could ask you the cliche, like, how do you take your cheesesteak kind of question here, but I won't. I'll instead ask you the other cliche question. Have you been to the Rocky statue?
Not since I've been here this summer. I think I've been there, in the past, maybe a family trip down to Philly every once in a while. But not this year yet.
I was going to say, Chris, you wished him to San Francisco. We'd never cover the kid. At least Philadelphia, we've got a fighter's chance of like making a road trip to Philly, or he comes home to play the Mets, and
Listen, I'm old, so I remember Jeff pitching in high school for Shaker. I then remember him pitching at East Carolina. We then made a couple of trips to catch up with him at the minor league level, and when it ended up being Colorado, I remember thinking like, gosh, really? You start your career that way. That's just kind of unfair. But every time you get traded, this is the way I look at it. Every time you get traded for, every time somebody signs you, that means a major league team wants you. And that's not a bad thing at all. Ash, anything else for our guy?
No, I'm good. How about you? Shaker's proud of you, Jeff.
I'm going to let this guy
I told Jeff
get ready for a
Hoffman,
game.
but he adorns the halls of every building on the North Colony campus. It's everybody here is at least keeping an eye. And listen, Chris is a Braves fan, so he doesn't enjoy when the Phillies win. But I know he's like, all right, it was Jeff, fine.
Yeah, last October was not pretty. This is Jeff. Let me show you. You said, "Oh, is that where the Bernardos are?" That's exactly where the Bernardos are. Here's Garrett, who you played with.
Man?
What's
How are
up,
you?
brother?
How's it going?
Dude, I thought I heard Chris talking, and I was like, is he talking to Hoffman? I just say, what's up?
What's going on?
I got my
How are you?
AirPods in, so Garrett can't hear you. But yeah.
Oh, it's all good.
Dude, you're killing it. So
Thank
good
you.
to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah,
You keep
we got to
doing
get
it
you some
too.
gear. We'll send
Yeah,
some
for
stuff
sure.
out.
Yeah, absolutely.
There it
Thanks,
is.
man.
Good to see you.
And now back on Onorato Company live from Alpin Haus. Love catching up with Jeff Hoffman when we can. And again, I mean, we ran through some of the numbers during that segment, but he has just pitched so well for Philadelphia. And when you can kind of bet on yourself, as the theme was of that conversation, and it works out the way it's working out for Jeff right now, props to him. That is impressive. Let me walk you around here a little bit. This incredible new showroom. I want to show off this Wellis. It's a swimming experience is what it is more than anything else. So like if you have a backyard where the pool, the in-ground pool, maybe even the above ground pool is not exactly the best option, look at this thing. Look at this thing. I mean, incredible. So you can use it as a pool, right? Full swim experience because of the way the jets work, or you can use it as a hot tub. Unbelievable. Look at all the jets. And if you say, okay, it might be a little too much for me, too big, look at the options here. Look at the options here for spas. And that's what the renovation here and really expansion of the showroom is allowing Alpin Haus here to get, you heard Jamie say, get all of the inventory out so people can see it firsthand, maybe even climb in it without your shoes, of course, obviously. It's incredible what they've done here. A great business, just continuing to do big things. Highly recommended if you're thinking about a pool or a spa, or if you even want to get a jump start of the winter season, you can do that here. Patio furniture, grills, they've got it all. Another quick time out here on Onorato and Company. When we come back, the Capital Region Football Hall of Fame is inducting its class next weekend, Saturday, August 5th. We have the president of the Hall of Fame with us, Nick Fitzgerald, up next here on Onorato and Company. Hang on.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
Get ready for the thrill of a lifetime with Tracker fishing boats, available at Alpin Haus. Feel the rush as you reel in your trophy catch, supported by Tracker's unmatched stability. Prepare to conquer any challenge with cutting-edge tech at your fingertips and the freedom to explore without limits. Make waves this season and experience the ultimate fishing adventure with Tracker fishing boats at Alpin Haus. Your source for fun since 1964.
And now back to Onorato and Company, sponsored by Alpin Haus.
Welcome back to Onorato and Company. Big weekend coming up. Special 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Onorato and Company. Big Saturday coming up, August 5th. The newest class of the Capital Region Football Hall of Fame will be inducted. I want to dive into this class. 21 individuals, one team will go in as well. Let's talk to our guy from the Capital Region Football Hall of Fame, Nick Fitzgerald, among many other things, but it's good to have Nick on the show with us this week. Nick, thanks for taking the time, man. This, I know, is a labor of love for you to be part of the process. I know there are other people involved in terms of choosing who should be eligible and then worthy for this specific Hall of Fame. What is it about this class? Like I said, 21 individuals and then one full team. What is it about this class that just kind of excites you or maybe takes you back down memory lane?
I'll tell you what's great about this every year is we seem to come up with names that are just like, wow, how did we miss that? Or why isn't that person in yet? And it's, I'll give you a quick example. Dave Smuckler from Gloversville, who grew up in Gloversville, played football there, went on to Temple, played the 1935 Sugar Bowl, and was coached by Pop Warner. Pop Warner is an article saying he was better than Jim Thorpe. Went on to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, went on to coach in the NFL, came back here and brought up his family for a little while before they moved to the West Coast. And you think of those type of history and stories. Pop Warner said he was better than Jim Thorpe is amazing. And just some of the history is it kind of never dies. 100 years of football in our section. And it was, now 14 years ago, Bob Ford for University of Albany said, hey, we've got to get this Hall of Fame thing going because we were running the Scholar Football Dinner, which you MC, Chris, for many years now. And he says, we got to get this going. So we said, all right, let's put a committee together and really see what we can get. And boy, it's been nothing but successful. And what's even better now is you're getting program makers. I'm not saying anything against Division I athletes and the great football players who went on to the NFL, but there is a little bit more meaning for those guys who just never made it to the next level, but had such an impact on their programs and did some amazing things like Hoosick Falls, the two guys going in from Hoosick Falls this year. So it's that type of thing that I think is exciting for this class, I think.
You segued me into what my point was going to be just as you were talking about Dave Smuckler and all the way back to 1935, you said, Nick. By the way, the induction ceremony is August 5th, 6:30 at the Polish Community Center. When I see names hit this list, who I covered in high school, that's when you know. Like, we probably laughed at Roger for many, many years because of this, but now I'm in some of those shoes and I'm looking at the names Billy Pine and Brad Burns, and I'm thinking, how the heck did this happen? But they were two phenomenal football players.
That they were, and I actually had the not the great opportunity to coach against them when I was at Waterville Elite, and just Ron Jones, who was just a stellar human being and a stellar coach, but brought these kids up when they were younger, all the way through the program, and being a PE teacher there, really connected with kids and made it a special place. He was a disciple of Ken Baker, who went on to Cambridge, and you see that tree that kind of branches out a little bit. And he was one of those. So yeah, you see these names, you've got to be out 10 years to get nominated in our Hall of Fame. And what we do is we really look at what a kid did in his high school years. Yes, college and pro will help you, but you've got to have a stellar high school career first before it goes on to the next piece. And I think that's what makes this kind of special too. And there's a great group of guys in terms of the committee, from officials to media people to former coaches. And it's a good banter between everybody because they all bring a piece, from Alex Mancini to Jack Berger to Mark Goluski, to Mike Cronin, to Mike Aquino. You hear those names. Steve Grandin is another one. Rich Becker, Scott McKay. They just have a really great knowledge of our section football. Bob Ford, of course. It's just great. Actually, that's probably one of the highlights of the year when you sit down with that group and kind of just sit back. And as they're sitting in my house and we're going through these names, it's pretty amazing to see that group come together and talk about football. So,
I'm looking at some of the other names here that will just jump off the page for a lot of people here. Sean Ryan, a guy that we covered because he was a Giants assistant coach. But you maybe forget about the type of football player he was. Sean McDonnell, again, a guy that maybe you remember a lot as a coach, but certainly a great athlete in his own right, and a guy he coached in Kevin Cummings, who will go in posthumously. there are just kind of webs that
Yes.
weave their way through each and every single class here, it seems. Nick, you talked about the coaching tree. Some of this is even just passed down from coach to player.
Well, you look at Sean, and you said he went to New Hampshire and just had an incredible career, but he graduated from St. Peter's, where Joe King started.
Yep.
Joe King went from there to Watervliet and built the program Watervliet, then went to RPI and obviously built the program there. And he was hurt his senior year with a shoulder injury, but Coach King said he was one of the best players he's ever coached. And it's too bad he didn't have a senior year, but he was just a stellar kid. And St. Peter's wasn't much until Joe came in and they built that program. And Sean was a big piece of that. So yeah, that connection again. And Sean through Tommy Heinzelman, who then left and said, you know what, he got a job in the private sector and was like, you know what, I've got to go give this a shot. I love college coaching and I love coaching in general. Went to University of Albany, where we all went for a little while, and then all of a sudden got a great opportunity to hook up as a GA, graduate assistant, with Tom Coughlin. So who knows, some years later, here's Tom Coughlin in the New York Giants. He comes in, he's now a quality control guy. Boom, they win the Super Bowl. Yep. He goes to the wide receivers coach and quarterbacks coach. He wins another Super Bowl. And now he's almost 15 years in the NFL, which is unprecedented too as a coach. And he's, just about 50 years old, which is amazing. So yeah, it's just a great history to pull all these people from our section that had such an impact. Another one on here who we're very happy to have on, Bill Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Bill Arsenal was just a staple of high school sports when the newspapers covered him a lot more. Things have changed, as we know. But boy, we look forward every Saturday to open that paper and see what Bill had to write about the teams. And, Big James followed up with that. But definitely Bill was kind of the trendsetter when it came to high school sports.
Before we get to the team that is going in, and then I will let you run, I want to ask you about Bob Dorrance. You are somebody who has had such a large impact on football in our area, Nick. Everything you do, besides having been on the sidelines, Bob kind of fits that same description too, I would say. He just seems to be everywhere, wherever he is needed at a high school football game, even the ones he isn't coaching in.
He is the epitome of what the Section 2 thing is all about. A guy who stayed with Gary Vandersee for 30-something years, who stayed in a school district and helped build a program that is the perennial kind of power in Class B. Yeah. And it was so nice to see them. They hit a little lull like we always do, and then come back and win some sectional championships. Just shows the staying power and the ability of how he connects with kids and what he means about football. And the stuff he's done for Section 2 is simply amazing in terms of just taking it kind of to the next level digitally, taking it to the next level of getting it to where it should be in the 2000s. And we always rib him and Gary because he took over for Gary, and Gary wasn't very good with the technology. Gary just started texting a couple years ago. So Bob took that to the next level and is such a consummate professional. So for him to be a part of this, it's the epitome of what this thing is kind of all about. And Barry Clausen, another class act who's in there too as a coach, and a lot of people kind of the heads turned with him because of how much they remember how much of a class act he was in Gloversville and Johnstown back in the 80s. Forget about it. It was 5,000-6,000 people at a game. Tom Ciaccio and Matt Shell, who played together. What great history there as we start to see. And then, as you said, we got the team going in that wasn't even a state championship because there was no state championships yet, but it ripped through the section and went, 11-0 in that first kind of group that could go past the section in that first game. So
so that's the '86 Amsterdam team.
Yes.
And there are undefeated teams all through history, teams that won a championship that wasn't a state championship. Why did this one kind of stand out, maybe aside from the rest?
Well, as we listed all the teams over the years with state championships, obviously Amsterdam is on that list, right? So then you reach out to the coach and you say, geez, which one of these teams is probably your best one? And he says, I don't want to downplay any team. He goes, but the '86 team just had so much potential and did so many great things. They just were limited by the schedule at the end of the year. They were one of the best, kind of like the '84 team for Shenandoah Ho was nationally ranked, but they could never go on to a state championship and see what would end up happening. So this is the same thing. Kevin Billington, who was a coach at Cobleskill for years and now is coaching at Union, was the running back. And there's just some guys there who went on to play college football. Back in the day, we didn't have a lot of guys from Section 2 leaving, going to college football. But, Frank DeRico built a dynasty there, and this was kind of the start of it.
Saturday, August 5th, 6:30, the Polish Community Center in Albany. The newest class of the Capital Region Football Hall of Fame will be inducted. 21 individuals and a team. Pretty cool stuff. And the list, as we've detailed maybe half of it as best as we could in the time we have, Nick, is impressive for sure. Congrats on having another year down. I'm sure the class of 2024 is already being looked at. And like I said, it's a labor of love for not only Nick, but the entire committee that volunteers to do this work. Nick, thanks for jumping on the show, man.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the summer.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now back to Onorato Company, sponsored by Alpin Haus.
And back live now at Alpin Haus as we walk around this beautiful new showroom here in Amsterdam. And we're showing off specifically really the Wellness pool, spa. I mean, there are just so many options here. And here's what I've learned about Wellness is that because of how they are made, polymer, belly, polymer, frame, it does a number of things. One, it keeps out the insects, okay? But it also keeps the heat in, and you get a longer life out of your hot tub because of how these bad boys are made. Resistant to rotting. A lot of these spas are made with a wood frame, not the Wellness. Learned that today. Pretty cool stuff. So this is Alpin Haus is easily your authority for all things pool, spa. Come check them out in Amsterdam. We had the conversation with Jamie Georgelos earlier on the show. He's the manager here. The ski shop is still here, right? You can see it over my shoulder now. Ski shop is still there, but that will expand as well. So as we get closer to that winter ski season, where Alpin Haus does such a great job of that as well. They will expand that. Right over my shoulder here, okay, is the Wintersteiger machine for all of your ski shaping, fitting needs. The window that you can see all that magic happen. That's pretty cool. Really, really cool. Good to have you with us here on Onorato Company. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Did you see this news about Colorado? So all the conference realignment we continue to talk about here. The Big 12 says we will take Colorado. Of course you will. And yes, this is a Coach Prime effect. So Colorado can leave the Pac-12 after this season when the Pac-12 TV deal really kind of dissolves the way it is currently formulated. And then the Buffaloes will be a member of the Big 12 once again. Good move for Colorado. Good move for the Big 12. Deion Sanders won't finish his coaching career at Colorado. I can almost promise you that. But at least for 2 or 3 years, the Big 12 will be the beneficiary of Coach Prime being in that conference. U.S. Women's National Team, as we do this show live on a Thursday morning, is tied atop the group with the Netherlands, 1-0-1. The draw came against the Dutch on Wednesday night. So 4 points. The U.S., if you want to break it down by U.S. does have the edge over the Netherlands because of a goal differential and total goals. So that's good news for the U.S., but still need a win over Portugal to really secure this thing, and that is next Tuesday, 3 a.m. You getting up early? I'll be at work watching. I know that. I'm kind of excited. I saw that schedule. I thought, hey, 3 a.m.? This game was made just for me. I will literally, that's when I get into work. I will pop on the TV and watch the U.S. take on Portugal in what is the group finale for the American women. And this is the beauty of it, right? Because they're at the top of the group right now, all the feedback is they haven't even really played well yet. So Team USA still with a big chance here to do good things on the World Cup stage. As Sam says, yeah, ladies haven't even been firing on all cylinders yet. Yes, you have to believe it will get better, and they haven't lost yet. Kind of needed something special in order to get that draw against the Netherlands, but the fact that they haven't been playing well and they're still at the top of the group says kind of as much as you really need to know about how special this team is. So I'll be locked in to that. How about this one? We're just bouncing around a lot of places on the show, but this one, we said yes. Feels like the Celtics will probably give Jaylen Brown the super. This is the super max, all right. Almost $304 million over 5 years. And I know the conversation is, will the Celtics regret this? Financially, the regret is one side. To me, it's the commitment to keeping Tatum and Brown together, whether or not they're going to regret that. Are they going to win with the way this team is constituted? And now that you've got Brown and Tatum, both supermax guys, can you fit enough around them to win? I just have a feeling it's not going to work out. Just seems like other franchises are ahead of Boston, and that the Celtics almost needed a little bit of a reset button to build around Tatum and not to simply kind of run things back a little bit. Porzingis, is he enough of a factor for people to say, hey, this is a big deal? I don't know. We'll see. I understand. We talked about it with the quarterbacks and Justin Herbert, right? Hey, this is our best option in front of us presently. Let's keep things together. I feel a little bit differently about the NBA because you can rebuild quicker there than at the quarterback position in the NFL. All right, when we come back here on Onorato and Company, we are not through with the guests yet. I told you this was jam-packed week. We're going overtime on Onorato and Company this week. The actor David Koechner, who starred in both The Office and Anchorman, is our guest next on Onorato and Company as he gets ready to be in the Capital Region for Friday, July 28th. The Office Trivia back right after this. It's Onorato and Company, everybody. It's Chris Onorato without my better half for this interview, and it's killing her. I know that because during COVID, my wife and I binged The Office. We had seen, reruns here and there and always knew it was funny, but it's like, how do you dedicate the time to catch up on a show with that much success? Positive of COVID, silver lining. There it was. We had plenty of time to do that. And so we are going to be there at Universal Preservation Hall in Saratoga Springs, which is such a beautiful facility, Friday, July 28th for The Office Trivia, hosted by one of the best characters from that show. David Koechner is joining us here on Onorato and Company. Bring him into the conversation here and figure out how the heck this really kind of came to be, because it's a genius idea. David, it's Chris up in Albany with the NBC. Thanks for doing this, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Good to see you, Chris.
Todd Packer's character. How much did you have to put on to pull that off?
Well, I want you to know I'm nothing like Todd Packer in real life. We're the same height and weight. It's just great writing, really. That's what it is. And, when you get to play basically a villain, I mean, Todd Packer's a villain. Those are always fun to play. And you can't ever say those things to anyone's face. Right. So you feel like you're really getting away with one.
And honestly, that's some of the genius of the show, is because you sit there at home and you laugh hysterically because something is just genuinely funny, but sometimes you find yourself laughing because it's uncomfortable and you don't really know what else to do. How much of Todd Packer's character will we see Friday, July 28th at Universal Preservation Hall?
It's hosted by the real Todd Packer, as we say. So I do some of the lines from the show, obviously, and I put on a little Todd Packerisms now and again during the show. But yeah, no one's going to be. Everyone's going to walk away happy. I'll put it that way.
It's funny, through some of these conversations we get to have, and we are mostly a sports talk podcast, and I'll ask you about your fandom here in a second. But I've come to learn about people who graduated, if you will, but really grew up in comedy through Chicago's Second City. I was ignorant to it. I don't run in those circles, but the list of names that come out of there, you're included in that. How much did that training or daily exercising prepare you for this incredibly successful career you've had of being funny?
I would say it's the foundation for sure. I studied at Second City in another place called the IO Improv Olympic there in Chicago. And so I would be on stage 5 nights a week, either in class or doing shows. And it really is the foundation. And it's what I wanted to do. I'd gone up and I'd taken a summer workshop one year, and I just fell in love with it. And so I saved my money and moved up there in my early 20s. And that was that. And like that, I was there at a very fortuitous time because I turned 13 when Saturday Night Live first started. And so all of these other people did too. And they migrated to Chicago for that specific purpose of going to the Second City.
Wow. That's cool. Either there or on a movie set or a TV set. Give me the actor that you just really had to like laser focus so that you wouldn't lose kind of command of that scene or you wouldn't break out laughing.
Will Ferrell. He's amazing. He's amazing. I remember in Anchorman 2, Champ is sitting next to Brick, and Ron tells Brick to shut up. Just shut up. And that's verboten. Like, we've all agreed you never mean to Brick. But I had to sit next to Steve, and it's like Farrell's throwing you a fastball, and you just got to take it. I actually had to think about tough situations my kids have been in so I didn't lose it, because you don't want to blow anybody's take, you know. So that was very difficult when old Will Ferrell's throwing you a fast one.
I have more Office, but you lead me into Anchorman here. When you and Will Ferrell are prank call, I don't know how to really call it, you're prank calling Veronica Corningstone in the newsroom. How much of that was scripted and how much of that was you guys just being who you are?
That one in particular was all scripted because that just got added. I think it was the end of the day on a Friday. And McKay just decided we had some time just to film something extra, just to see if he wanted to use it or not later. And so that was all improvised, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it had to have been. I mean, and it's one of the funniest scenes in that entire movie. Okay, how about through The Office? How much of that did you kind of have freedom on as a cast or even just as a particular character?
That's less so because, you know, television's a different medium. It's a writer's medium. You've got 12 to 15 writers who've worked for more than 40 hours on a script. So
you're going to tick somebody off if you go off script.
Right. You know, that's not your job. So you can ask, or they might give you an alternate take. Right. And also it's, 23 and a half minutes long. That's the episode. So if you start adding lines, they've got to cut lines somewhere else. So now as the show went on, I think some of the core cast did some more improvising, but then also it's a 12-hour day. So, if everybody's just kind of screwing around, you don't get your work done.
Trivia night is Friday, July 28th, Saratoga Springs. Have you ever been?
Not to my memory. I could have been. I used to tour with Second City years ago. So I may have been there before. I just cannot remember.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're here prime time. It used to be called the August place to be. Then it graduated to the summer place to be. But so much of it centers around world-class horse racing at Saratoga Racecourse. So I don't know what your schedule is. Don't divulge it here. But if you can get over to the racecourse, it's worth even just the people watching experience of it all. and you will be, not even 5 minutes away from it as you perform at UPH. 7:30. Best way to get your tickets, universalpreservationhall.org. That's right through proctors.org as well. What is it like to live with the pressure of being funny, the expectation that you will just always be funny? Like for me, if I have a funny moment, I've kind of lucked into it. Nobody really expects it from me. But for you, if you're just walking down the street and somebody yells whammy, or they have a Packerism that they throw out at you, they expect something in return.
Well, if you're out in public, I would say my responsibility to their performance needs is much lower. So if someone yells out something, you'll give them a nod or whatever,
Okay.
but I'm not going to be in the airport yelling whammy because that would seem very sad.
True. All right. So is it more difficult to be funny because you do stand up as well? Is it more difficult to be funny in front of an audience, or when you're just kind of playing to a blank production set, if you will?
Well, with an audience, you get immediate feedback, so you're on the right track. But I think you've got enough intuitive, time put in that when it's funny or isn't. It's just kind of like a sense, because I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
So I guess if you follow your own paint by numbers in your head, you think, well, this is probably in the area we want to be.
This trivia night, you've done it other places around the country, which I just think is so cool. And you said before we kind of popped on here that there's this insatiable, connection to The Office. People, I shared with you my story that we watched during COVID. And yet, the series ended in 14, something like that, and we're almost a decade later, and we're going to sell this place out in Saratoga because people want to have a trivia night with you about The Office. Does this surprise you ever?
Yes. I'm always astonished. It's unlike anything I've ever been part of. The passion for it. I've had people stop me in grocery store parking lots and need to tell me that it got them through, an illness or something like that, or got them over some deep grief. So it is such a personal thing to everybody. And the fact that it's so universal is really, again, it's a tribute to the writers.
Yeah, no doubt. It's brilliant. Are these difficult questions we're up against?
What?
These trivia questions, are these going to be tough?
I thought it was some philosophical thought you were having. I would say it's moderate to difficult because, over the course of time, we've changed some of the questions, and you don't want to make it too hard, but you don't want it to be easy either. So I'll say no one aces it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. All right, let's get to the bread and butter here, which is kind of mostly where I live. You were born in Missouri. You are a Kansas City sports fan. Do you feel like you're just pinch me living in the golden age of the Chiefs right now?
We know we are, and it's pretty incredible, and it's a lot of fun to be part of. We went 50 years between Super Bowls, so it's our turn. It's okay. I was surprised how quickly everybody started hating on the Chiefs. It's like, come on, Boston went through it for a decade. Don't we get our time? So I'm very happy. But look, I think everybody appreciates what that organization is doing. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, it's pretty special. And the fact that he's on our team is just wonderful.
It's so funny. People love to love the loser, right? But as soon as they start to win, it's like, okay, you've had your moment in the sun. Now we're done with you. We were done with New England and Boston for a long, long time. But I'm telling you, if Buffalo, which is now the lovable loser franchise in many ways, if they get 2 in 4 years or something like that, people will be done with Buffalo right away too.
Right. They'll give you 1, but then 2, it seems like you're being piggy. So I don't know. I tell you what, I was at that game. Was it Buffalo? Oh no, I'm thinking about the one in LA. But that game, it still goes down. That Buffalo Chiefs game from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was one of the most amazing games I've ever seen in my life. And that's a heartbreaker to wind up on the other side of it.
I mean, 13 seconds left, but only that Mahomes magic, people would say, could pull that off. Last thing for you here. It's funny how I'm not saying celebrities come out of the woodwork here. They've always been fans. We just kind of discover their fandom, I guess. So you with the Chiefs, Paul Rudd, Eric Stone Street. Do you guys kind of like joust for who is the bigger Kansas City or Chiefs fan at this point, or can you just enjoy it all together?
We enjoy it all together. You know, we do a charity function in Kansas City together. Myself, Riggle,
right?
Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Eric Stone Street, and Heidi Gardner now too is one of our hosts. And so we do an event for Children's Mercy Hospital every year. So we're all on a text thread together. So when the season starts, we're texting back and forth, and obviously during the Super Bowl, it's the same deal, and it's a great feeling, and it's fun to have that camaraderie.
I love that. Very, very cool. All right, David, I'm going to let you run. Thank you for doing this for us. We're pumping the thing up for Friday, July 28th, the Office Trivia at Universal Preservation Hall. Again, that website, universalpreservationhall.org. Snake through to that through proctors.org if you'd rather do it that way. But the man who played Todd Packer will be the host that evening. It's going to be a lot of fun. David, thank you, man.
What's up, my nerds? Come out to Preservation Hall. Let's do it.
Love that. David Koechner, of course, the Office Anchorman. That was fun to chat with him. Hopefully get a chance to really meet him in person Friday up in Saratoga as we do the Office Trivia at Universal Preservation Hall. That will do it for us this week, jam-packed with guests. We went overtime here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The typical 58-minute, 30-second show on TV. Hope you had a good time as we did with all of our guests, to Jeff Hoffman, to David Koechner right there, Nick Fitzgerald, the Capital Region Football Hall of Fame. And our thanks to Alpin Haus for hosting us this week in this brand new space, but really for supporting us each and every week on the show. Come on out to Amsterdam and check out this place. Still plenty of summer left to go. Fall is still a good time to have your hot tub, winter, heck even, but your hot tub, your patio furniture, most of it here at least 30% off. The sales are real at Alpin Haus in Amsterdam. Come on by and check them out. Thanks to them. Thanks to you for watching each and every single week here on Onorato and Company. We will check you out next week. Our conversation, our big time guest next week, country music superstar Lee Brice. Join us then. See you, everybody.